and Nick.
Welcome to That Superhero Thing podcast, where we discuss the latest superhero and comic book movies and TV shows. I'm your host, Nick, and joining me, as always, is my co-host, Anthony.
Hello.
You alright?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you?
Good, I'm good, yeah. So, this week... Welcome to our Halloween special. Oh, I can't believe you did it. It turns out it's going to be scarier than we thought this week because pretty much everything Marvel related has been delayed, which is not good.
Everyone's worst horror nightmare.
It's a bit depressing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be fair, I've sat there thinking we're not going to have much news this week because of DC fandom. It was just last week. It was just going to be all filled with that, and then Marvel come in on a Monday and just obliterate the news for a week. It was just horrendous.
I know.
So, on this week's show, on the Halloween special, we're going to be breaking down all the latest comic book movie news, including Marvel movie delays, Marvel TV delays, and the latest trailer for Ghostbusters Afterlife. There you go, it's Halloween-y, it's ghosts.
Yeah.
We'll then be giving you our full breakdown and review of 1998 Blade with Wesley Snipes, which I am looking forward to going through, before discussing your thoughts and theories in this week's Podfans Assemble. This is also your spoiler warning. There will be spoilers and speculation throughout the episode. If you want to skip ahead to the Ghostbusters trailer review, the Blade review, or the Podfans Assemble, then we'll put timestamps in the description as always. Right, news then. We know what the news is going to be. Everyone who's listening knows what the news is going to be. Really depressing. Marvel movie delays. So Marvel came out on Monday. I'm still upset about this.
I'm really upset.
And released a press release. So it wasn't even like, got announced on Twitter or people were picking up on it first. Marvel literally announced this, that they have pretty much delayed the entire slate. Kind of after from 2022 onwards. So the things that they've moved Doctor Strange back from March to May. It's only 6 weeks, so it's not too bad. Thor Love and Thunder has gone from the May slot to July. Black Panther's gone from July to November. The Marvels has gone from November all the way back to February 2023.
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp has been moved back 5 months from February to July. And then there were as well a couple of untitled Marvel movies on the slate. So the one that was slated for July has now been removed from the schedule completely. The one that was slated for October has been removed from the schedule, and another one of the untitled ones that's been moved back. Oh, that's been brought forward. That's been brought forward a week. Been brought forward a week. Yeah. It's a bit weird, isn't it?
Probably Fantastic Four, that one.
Yeah, because we know that's coming.
Yeah,
but what about Blade as well? We're talking about Blade. Blade, we know that's happening. That's actually been confirmed. Fantastic Four. I know. Fantastic Four has been officially confirmed, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit. What do you think? What do you think's going on? What do you make of it?
I think
we know it's depressing.
I think if we understood why, I think we'd be a bit more forgiving.
Well, they've got reasons why. So Deadline were one of the first people to report this. They said that the delays are a domino effect going on with production and filmmakers. I thought it might be something to do with the Hollywood strike, but apparently that's all been averted now. They've come to an agreement. So thank God that's not happening, because that would have been a nightmare. Kevin Feige was at the Eternals premiere on Monday, and he said that it's production shifts and changes, and because we have so many slots, we can just shift them.
In fact, do you reckon it's whatever the compromise is with the production teams? Because it's camera crew, production crew and stuff like that, so could it be the easier working hours and stuff like that?
It could be, but it could also be down to just COVID. I think you mentioned it the other day, we're quite lucky at the moment in the UK because it's pretty much, it's not gone, but everything seems to be getting pretty much back to normal.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't get the impression that's the same everywhere.
Yeah.
So maybe it is just to that. Maybe it's not actually we've not had the delays yet, because if you think about it, Doctor Strange is ready, it's done, it's in post-production, and so's Thor. So maybe they're just sort of covering their arses and maybe shifting things back to give them more time make their.
From what I looked at, it looked like they were literally moving it back to the next film.
That's what they're doing,
wasn't it?
That's what they're doing, yeah. So when you think about it, they're going from having a 3-month gap between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange to now a 5-month gap.
Yeah.
So that's not that big a deal, to be fair, when you think about it.
No.
Whereas if they didn't move it and then we hit maybe like a big lull around the time when Ant-Man and the Wasp was supposed to be coming out, then we could end up with like 9 months without a Marvel movie if something got set back at that stage. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 isn't moving. James Gunn was asked on Twitter, and he's come out and said, no, that I can't remember what that date is like, but just jumped into my head then. So that's not moving. So not everything's being shifted.
The order's changing,
the order is changing, yes. So Guardians of the Galaxy is now before Ant-Man and Quantumania, whereas it was supposed to be after Quantumania. So it is changing things, but I suppose Guardians of the Galaxy is like it's a cosmic movie, isn't it? And Ant-Man's more likely to be Earth-based, so they're obviously
or
linked.
in the quantum realm,
Funnily enough, they're obviously going to be linked, but not that much. Should we talk just while we're on the subject? Then can I just say something about Eternals? The Eternals premiere was Monday, right? If you've had Eternals spoiled, don't go spoiling it for everybody else. There's no other way of saying it. What a dick move people are doing now, going on Twitter and just spoiling it. When we're recording this, so we're recording this on Tuesday. We're doing it early this week. So we're recording this on Tuesday, and Eternals has been out, not out, but it's been like 24 hours now since the premiere. It's all over Twitter. We've been all right so far. We've not really had anything spoiled.
I don't know if I'm all right.
Anthony might have had something spoiled. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Don't spoil Eternals for people. It's a shit dick move. Don't do it. Should have probably said we're not going to be like avoiding language or bleeping language in this episode because there's loads of fucks in Blade. So there's going to be as many fucks as you want. Like Cartman, fuck, seriously, loads of them. But yeah, don't do that. It's a bad move. It's a bad move. So still on the theme of delays, Ryan Reynolds. Have you heard about this? So Ryan
taking a little break, a little sabbatical.
He is. He said it's perfect. So he posted on Instagram that he's just finished.
It sounds like it's going to give him 9 months until he starts with Deadpool 3. I think that's what he's kind of looking at.
Do you know that, or is that just what you're putting together in your head? Have you been on to Ryan Reynolds?
From what they've said about the schedule of beginning to film, it's probably going to give him about 9 to 12 months. Because they've said they're going to start filming in 2022 for its 2023 release.
For Deadpool 3?
Yeah.
That's if it's still there, though.
So a year from now is October of 2022, so it sounds like...
You might find that that's one of the ones that's been pushed back, though, from 2023. Because these ones that have been removed from the schedule completely, the Untitled movies, they're not being made anymore. They've just lost dates at the end of the day. They'll be put into new slots because they basically book the slots.
Well, it's still been said that that's still happening in 2023, so I don't know.
Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's all happening. It's all happening at once. To be fair, he's so busy, Ryan Reynolds, and he has been.
Yeah, he's just done Free Guy.
He's done Free Guy. He's just had movies coming out constantly. Yeah, Spirited is the one with Ryan Reynolds.
And he's done some sort of TV thing as well.
He's doing that one on Netflix. He's doing the one with The Rock and Gal Gadot, Red Notice.
Yeah.
So he's doing that one. Yeah. He's just bought a football club and he's doing a documentary on that as well. Yeah. He's got his own gin. Funny. He's got his own gin brand, which he's launched, and he's launched his own.
Is that the one that Hugh Jackman was taking the piss out of?
It is, yeah. And he's got his own cell phone network. The guy literally does not stop. So I get the idea that he needs a break.
I really want him to do a Kevin Bacon piss take advert, like EE.
Yes.
I would love him to do his own version.
Well, did you not see the one he did with Rick Moranis?
No.
Rick Moranis, right? Rick Moranis hasn't acted for like 20 years.
No, he hasn't.
And he got Rick Moranis in to do the cell phone advert.
Amazing.
And it's basically just Ryan Reynolds. And Rick Moranis comes on and he goes, Rick Moranis? Don't really need to say anything else. I'm not even going to promote the network. It's Rick Moranis. Join our mobile network. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole advert.
I love him.
It's like literally doesn't tell you anything about his cell phone network. He's just like, just Rick Moranis. It's boss, isn't it?
He's so funny.
It's absolute legend. Right, so last bit of news before we get onto the Ghostbusters trailer. Unfortunately, more potential delays. So Ms. Marvel was originally supposed to be arriving on Disney Plus this year. Well, that's what they'd originally said, but it's clearly been pushed back now to 2022 because Hawkeye's coming out in time for Christmas. Even so, though, I think we all expected it to follow quite quickly in the new year. But according to one of the show's stars, it's actually going to be later. So Mohan Kapoor, who's playing Kamala's dad in the show, he said on Twitter, he was literally asked flat out, when are we going to see Ms. Marvel? And he said that the show won't be arriving until June or July.
Oh, wow.
So considering we were saying like about a month ago, it'll probably be in January, so that there's a couple of weeks or end of January. That's again, it's a big.
And there's nothing in between.
Well, we don't know.
Well,
I would have from where production's up to. There's 3 shows that are properly in development right now, aren't there? There's She-Hulk. Yeah. There is Moon Knight.
Yeah.
And there's Ms. Marvel. But Ms. Marvel, I assumed, or from what we've not even assumed, from what we've heard, that was the next one. It was supposed to come out this year, so that has now potentially been shifted back. It kind of makes sense because it's quite a big gap between this and the Marvels.
Yeah.
Well, and even bigger now. When I was writing this bit of news and making the notes, we were having the Marvels out in November, and now it's not until February the following year.
Yeah.
So if they dropped Ms. Marvel in February this year, we're going to have then a year before her next appearance. Yeah. And maybe they're just thinking we don't want to have that bigger gap for introducing a character.
Yeah.
So June and July. So what we will see at the start of 2022, Disney Plus, MCU, if anything, I don't know. I would guess we've got Disney Plus Day on the 12th of November. So
if we're going to get something, that's when it's going to get announced.
I would imagine we're going to get some sort of announcement as to what. Because I think on the information that's been released for Disney Plus Day already, it does say, I think it says that we're going to get, there's like Home Sweet Home Alone, aren't we, or something like that, which looks shit. We're going to get a special look at Hawkeye. Yeah. And then I think it says there's some special Marvel news coming. So, yeah. I assumed at the time when that information got released that it was going to be a first look at Ms. Marvel, but I'm guessing.
It'd be nice if they did like a surprise. We've done a whole film with no one knowing.
Yeah,
but that's not going to happen.
It's not going to be. No. A few of our listeners have said. I think one of them said that maybe it's going to be something to do with Loki season 2 because there were all those rumors that it had filmed.
Yeah.
And then somebody else was saying if they just give us Rogers the Musical, they'll be happy. Give us that in January instead. Rogers the Musical.
But no one called me about playing Hulk, so I don't think it's going to be the case.
Gutted. You're going to sing us a song again? Doing
no, I'm not doing it again. It was bad enough the first time.
It was amazing. Did you have any news before we go to the Ghostbusters?
Yeah. So pictures have been taken of the old Munsters house. Okay. 1313 Mockingbird Lane, and it's been announced they're making a new Munsters movie.
Amazing. And it's not really superhero related, but it's Halloween
related.
No,
but it's Halloween related.
Special, so we'll run with it.
And it was a show that I used to love watching at like 2:00 in the afternoon when I was off school sick. Even in black and white, I just absolutely adored it. And they've shown the first 3 actors dressed as the characters.
Yeah.
And they've all been sat. The pictures on Instagram from the director, I can't even remember his name, sorry. But there's the 3 of them sat outside the actual house in Hungary, I want to say.
Okay.
And it's the mum, the dad, and grandpa.
Amazing.
And grandpa looks amazing.
So what's the premise? Is it just literally just going to be the because I think in the 90s didn't we get the Munsters Today where they all went to sleep and woke up? Yeah. We woke up with a brand new show
and stuff. But the pictures that he's taken are in black and white. I don't know much more about it than that, but just the fact that they've gone to the original house to do it and everything, and good. It looks exactly the same as it did 60 years ago. Yeah. And I'm just so happy about it.
I like that.
So the Munsters is coming.
Good, amazing. So still on the Halloween theme then, let's talk about the Ghostbusters Afterlife trailer. Can't think of a better way to close out the news segment of the Halloween special than talking more Ghostbusters.
I could genuinely pee. I'm that excited.
I am so excited for this. More than like most of the Marvel movies at this stage.
I'm more excited for this than Eternals. I'm okay with saying that.
I think I am, and I think it's probably level with Spider-Man at the moment. I cannot wait to see that. But we grew up with it, didn't we? Yeah. At the end of the day. Before we sort of go into a bit of detail about the Ghostbusters trailer, it was very, and it's not trying to, I'm not putting it down or anything like that. The whole premise of this trailer was, let's sell this movie purely through nostalgia. Yeah. Rather than giving us anything actual solid, which normally we would say is not good. No. I'm completely okay with it.
I'm okay with it because I feel like if they'd have given too much of the other stuff away, we'd have basically got the story.
I think they've given a few things. I think they've given a few things away.
Do you?
Yeah. I'm not gonna. We don't want to spoil it because we don't know. But and I know we said we'll have speculation, but yeah, I think having watched this trailer 36 times, I think I've kind of got a bit of a gist of it. Yeah,
but nothing's
it's not spoilery.
Solid. No,
But I think I can piece together the whole final act of the movie from the trailer, which isn't great, but I suppose there's only kind of one way it can go anyway, really. Unless there's some huge surprises. But yeah, it's amazing.
And I already knew she was in it, but just seeing again Annie Potts at the front door.
On this trailer?
Yeah.
Was she in this trailer?
She's at the front door.
I didn't even know. I've literally watched it 36 times. I didn't even see it at the time. The one that I sent you yesterday? Yeah. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, it's Annie Potts at the door.
Didn't notice that.
Of the whatever the barn house thing is that they live in now.
Didn't twig onto that at
and
all.
I'm just so excited.
I am.
You know, it's been confirmed that pretty much all of them are back except for Rick Moranis.
Obviously, yeah.
There were rumours for a while that he may make an appearance.
Right.
But it's never been kind of fully confirmed or not, so it's kind of 50-50 even if it's just one scene, whether he'll do it or not.
Yeah.
So I'm not holding my breath for that because obviously we know the reasons for him not coming back, and it's a solid reason, do you know what I mean?
Came back for a Ryan Reynolds advert though, so maybe he'll come back for Ghostbusters.
So you never know.
Maybe.
Kids are older now, aren't they? So he might go. Do you know what?
So good if
something to do for a bit.
Yeah, be amazing.
But yeah, no, I genuinely so excited for this.
Yeah.
And like, there's been a bit of a mixed reaction over like the Marshmallow Man, the puffed.
Yeah, the mini puffed.
Yeah,
I wasn't too happy with them at first, but I'm alright with it now.
I'm alright with it now because I think that's a bit to like a nostalgia for us, but also something to bring a younger audience in.
Yeah.
Because it'll be stupid funny that the kids will laugh at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I get why they're doing it. They're broadening that audience as much as they want to bring back the people that watched it back in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
They also want to get a new audience in that will sit and enjoy it and not just get bored. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And obviously we've now seen a little bit more of the hellhound type things.
Yeah, so they are full on. I mean, I think we'd seen them already in the trailer, or what we thought was. We'd seen a clip
of one running, I think.
This is like full on.
But this is given that scene in the supermarket with Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And I was just like, bring it on.
It's like,
loving
it.
Yeah.
Nah, it's partial. But again, I think...
And the CGI looks amazing as well. And that's something that, like, if there's one thing you could change about the original Ghostbusters, would be to get that CGI.
It is, but they used a lot of practical effects in the original Ghostbusters. And this is why it's good that we're getting it now. Because we've been crying out for a Ghostbusters movie for a Ghostbusters 3, which this kind of is, isn't it? Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah.
We've wanted this for years.
Yeah.
And, there was talk about it in the 90s, there was talk about it in the early 2000s. If they'd done it then, the CG, they would have gone full 3D CG, like the blood monster at the end of Blade. Do you know what I mean? And it would have just not looked good.
No.
Whereas the fact that it's come out now, we've reached that point in computer-generated imagery where it will look solid.
Well, it's a general thing where they've actually, they've gone, as much as CGI does make things better, sometimes the old stuff is phenomenal. It's like the reason that, for example, in the Jurassic World films now, they still use full-sized animatronic dinosaurs as well as using CGI.
Right, okay.
Like, that makes such a difference, especially in the close-up scenes and stuff like that, because it's so much more realistic.
Yeah.
And so, again, I quite like that. But I was a kid who was obsessed with the car.
Yes, so was I.
I love the car. I love the noise it made. I was just living for it.
It's that siren. It's the way. There's no other siren
and
like
I had the car as a kid, and it actually was battery powered, so it had the siren, and you could press it. Oh my god, I was in my element.
It's so
as soon as I heard it, I had goosebumps. Like, and I know it sounds
trailer,
pathetic.
as soon as you get that, literally that whine of that siren in this movie, in this trailer, it's so good. And the fact that in the trailer we got the Ghostbusters music as well. Slightly different version of it. But
I actually really like it.
I did.
I was modern. Like, okay.
Because when you think back to the original 80s one, it would be a little bit silly-ish kind of now. So they've modernised it without getting Fall Out Boy to redo the music like they did in the 2016 one.
Oh, God.
Not good. It was like it's a good mod. I know we've heard like 10 seconds of it, but it was a good modernisation. But I loved in the trailer, it's like they sort of built up to the music for about 10-20 seconds before they started playing it, and it kept like going, oh, it's going to start, no it's not, no this music goes up, no it's not, and it was like, when it started it was like, yes we got the music, just literally goosebumps watching it. It's I will be good. 100%
watching that in the cinema.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I'm not waiting for it to be streamed or on TV or anything.
Yeah, launch day we'll be covering it on the podcast, won't we? I know it's superhero. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah. We'll go.
They're a hero of sorts. They save people from ghosts.
The other thing about the trailer as well, before we sort of move on, it looks like it's. I assume it's how the film's going to start with old man Egon fighting ghosts on the farm from the start of that trailer, because it's got like an old man getting sort of smashed. There's like a ghost smashing into the side of his car, and then he's standing on the porch, isn't he? And the ghost, it looks like a ghost starts coming from under the ground, and he catches it in the trap and then puts it under the floor, and then they end up back in the house. So I assume how they're gonna do that, I don't know.
For some reason, I didn't think it was Egon though.
Well, I'm just putting two and two together that I think it must be Egon, because it's his house who they end up inheriting, and he had the ghost trap, and I don't know whether I want to. In the trailer, we didn't see his face at any point clearly.
I don't think I'd want to see his face.
I don't. I want it to be like that, and we don't find out it's Egon until 15 minutes into the film. We just know it's some old dude, basically. Hopefully they'll keep it that way. But yeah, I cannot wait. I am so... And it's not that long away. It's like, 4 weeks away?
Oh my God.
3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. It's a week after... No, it's 18th now, isn't it? 18th of November. 18th of November, so it's 4 weeks away, yeah. Literally cannot wait. So excited. Right, so should we get back to the Halloween theme then and do the Blade review?
Let's do it.
Right, so Blade, haven't seen this for years.
No, I haven't.
Literally, it wasn't until I sat down and started watching it that I was like, bloody hell, it's been ages since I've seen this film. I think I was going into this with the idea of it's a bad movie.
Can I just say, the last time I watched Wesley Snipes in a film was when I watched Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
What is that?
It's a drag movie.
Oh no.
So it's him.
Oh, is that the one you sent me the clip from yesterday?
So it's him, Patrick Swayze, and John Leguizamo, that's it.
I thought that was called Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
No, that's a totally different film.
Is it?
Yeah,
I thought that was
Don't
that
say
film.
that the wrong way around. You'll upset the gays. You don't want to do that. You will get a bad haircut the next time you go out.
I genuinely thought he was in Priscilla, Queen of the Desert. How have we got on to Priscilla, Queen of the Desert already on this?
No. So he is the campest drag queen you've ever seen in your life. His voice is about 7 octaves higher. Like I will show you a clip later before I go home, because it's just it's so polar opposite from what you see.
From Hardman Blade.
Yeah. And so I sat down and I was like, I knew it was Wesley Snipes and I was really excited to watch it, and then just saw how different he was again. And I was like, whoa.
Like taken aback.
Yeah. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
I
forgot how good a film it was, to be fair.
It's an absolutely solid movie. And I think there's bits of it now that you watch in 2021.
Some of it hasn't aged well.
But not much.
No, not much.
Only small elements.
We're talking again, it's more CGI and things like that.
Yes.
They were obviously trying to really push the boundaries at the time, which at the time would have been brilliant, and people would have been like, oh my God, this is incredible. Some stuff potentially that we've not seen before. However, CGI has had its own little industrial revolution since then.
We said with Ghostbusters,
yeah.
It's probably moved on.
Yeah. So there's just some stuff that just hasn't aged well with it. No. But apart from that,
but it obviously had the budget as well, though, didn't it? It was it wasn't the first comic book movie, but it was the first. I'd say it's probably the first of this era that we're in now of comic book movie. Because previous to that, they were very
where you doing them justice.
Yeah, they were really They were really campy movies, weren't they? Like look at the '90s, early '90s Captain America movie. I mean, that was the '90s. It's the same decade that this was made.
It's crazy.
That Captain America with the clear shield. Do you know what I mean?
I've never seen it, to be fair, so I don't know.
There's again, you show me the not Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, and I'll show you the Captain America one. But there was a Fantastic Four movie, the movie that they tried to make in the early '90s. I think they made the whole film and just didn't release it. It's just it's really bad.
Can I just tell you Wesley Snipes' character's name in Tu Wong Fu?
What?
Noxema.
Oh my God.
I know. It's so funny. You need to watch it. It is very good. And Rizzo from Grease is in it as well.
Is she?
Yeah. She's in it. And then there's loads of faces. Stockard Channon, yeah. And there's loads of faces that you recognise as well.
Is there?
Yeah.
I'm still not convinced. Show me a clip later.
Will do.
I might watch it. So I thought it was quite interesting to do, before we get into actually reviewing Blade, I did a bit of research.
Okay.
I don't know why. into like how it was made, and not how it was made, obviously we know how it was made, they got a camera and a load of actors, but sort of like the production of it. So even though it came out in 1998, the wheels actually started turning on making the project in 1986.
Really?
That's how long it got in different like iterations, but that's when the wheels started turning to try and make this movie. So a company called New World Pictures bought Marvel Entertainment, and they decided that they wanted to make a Blade movie, except they wanted to make a Western set in Mexico with Blade. A guy called Richard Roundtree, who's been in a few things. He's been Heroes, Desperate Housewives, Seven. So you'd recognise him if you saw a picture, but he's not a big name.
Yeah.
But they wanted him.
Is he the guy with the white hair?
No.
Oh, okay.
But they wanted him. They had this guy to be Blade, but it was going to be, as I said, it was going to be in Mexico and a Western, which I thought would be a very much like Dusk Till Dawn type feel.
Yeah.
That's because that's the same sort of thing, isn't it? But yeah, thank God that didn't happen. Didn't see the light of day, did it?
That would have been horrendous.
So in 1992, Marvel then tried to develop it themselves, and they originally had LL Cool J attached to play Blade, which again doesn't come across as a particularly serious movie with LL Cool J, does it? So eventually New Line Cinema picked it up in the mid-90s, and they, even then, when they got it, which is obviously who ended up making it, they wanted it to be a spoof movie. They wanted it to be like a spoof comedy. So like, again, similar to like a bit of a campy version, because it's a comic book movie. But David S. Goyer, who's the writer, he basically convinced them not to go down that route. But they still had other ideas. At one point they wanted to change, because in the comics Blade's black. Yeah. They wanted to make him white. Which can,
well, I'm glad they didn't do that.
So can you imagine how that would have gone down?
Yeah.
So again, David S. Goyer decided to convince them not to. And he, from the start, wanted Wesley Snipes to play Blade.
Did he?
Which is great. New Line were all right with it as well, but they also wanted him to test, which apparently they did, Lawrence Fishburne.
Oh, okay.
And Denzel Washington. Which I feel like
Denzel was big in the 90s.
I think this movie, because of Wesley Snipes, hit a perfect tone of not taking itself too seriously, but not being a spoof comedy. Yeah. And I think if you'd gone for Fishburne or Denzel, it would have been too serious.
For example, in the final fight scene, when he spins round and just mimes, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
It's so funny.
It is, isn't it?
But it's not.
But it's like what you do.
Yeah.
It's like he's seen the CG from the future, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
And it's just so good. And it's that balance. And I'm not sure. I think Denzel Washington might have made it too spoofy, because he can do that.
Oh, I think he would have been too serious.
No, I think Lawrence Fishburne would have been the one that was too serious.
I think they probably would. I think they both would have. I think Denzel's such a big name, they would have been like... It's like, I think he's probably convinced them, David S. Goyer, to not make it a spoof. We want it to be a serious film, and they've gone, right, we need to get big, like, serious actors here. Yeah. And I do think Wesley Snipes is just then he was anyway, the perfect balance of not too serious, but not too... He can do the tongue-in-cheek elements, but also he can do the serious side of things. Because again, comic book movies weren't what they are now. I think I would imagine that Denzel and Lawrence Fishburne would have just laughed at the idea of doing a superhero movie where he's like half man, half vampire. Before we get into the review, then, do you want to know who else was potentially cast?
Oh, go on.
Right. So, Chris Christopherson was obviously Whistler in this one. Yeah. So John Voight was originally considered. Oh. That would have been, again, too serious?
Sam Neill? No, not Sam Neill.
No. Go on, I don't know where you're going with this, but Andy's broke.
Neither do I anymore.
They just randomly say Sam Neill. Tom Cruise?
No, I was thinking of the mustache man.
Oh, Sam Elliott? Yeah. No, it wasn't him.
No, but I could have imagined him doing it.
I could have, yeah. I wouldn't have understood a word he said.
But could you imagine Sam Neill?
Yeah, Sam Neill.
Seeing a vampire for the first time, taking his sunglasses off in the car.
Oh, amazing.
What a tip.
And then, so it ended up going to Chris Christopherson, obviously. And then Deacon Frost, which is obviously Stephen Dorff in this movie, who we'll talk about characters. I thought he was really good, better than I remembered, to be fair. Originally, the role was fully offered to Jet Li.
Oh?
Yeah, and he had agreed to do it, and then he got offered Lethal Weapon 4, so he basically quit Blade and went on to do Lethal Weapon 4. That again would have been a very, very different film. Like completely different film. Would have been just a martial arts thing, which probably would have been more spoofy feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, I must say, the one spoofy thing that I did notice...
There were loads of spoofy things.
No, the big one, though.
What?
Was the noises of the hits.
Oh, I've got that every note.
It was so Buffy the Vampire Slayer, wasn't it?
Was it just had been like getting paid overtime? Everything.
It's not something I probably would have picked up on 10 years ago, but now I was like
2 seconds in, I was like, what is all this noise? We'll get back to that. So Jet Li turned it down. Also considered where Skeet Ulrich, who played Billy Loomis in Scream.
Okay.
So the killer in Scream. Basically, poor man's Johnny Depp, because that's who he is. What he is.
And wishes Johnny Depp.
Exactly. And Mark Wahlberg.
Oh?
Mark Wahlberg was up for it as well, yeah. But again, 1998, Mark Wahlberg was Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch, wasn't he? So he wasn't like a proper serious actor at that stage. But yeah, I could see
compared to now, Mark Wahlberg's Ted.
Yeah, but he is. I think he does solid movies now, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
he did that one on the oil rig, didn't he?
He did.
That was good.
What was that?
It was like a disaster movie type.
No, I've not seen that one.
He was on an oil rig and it caused like a massive earthquake.
I think of Mark Wahlberg as well as being a bit of a, not a stupid actor, but you know, he more of a comedy side of things or like action adventure. But then he did The Departed. Yeah, he's so good in The Departed. Do you know what I mean? So he's got acting chops.
I love that film.
One of my favorite films.
Oh, and he did. Was he in Four Brothers?
He was, yeah. And then he did the one about the Boston Marathon bombing as well, didn't he?
Yes.
Patriots Day.
That was very good as well.
Did that as well. But yeah, I feel like if we'd gone with Mark Wahlberg, it would have been a very similar movie. Probably even a similar look at the end of the day. But yeah, I'm glad they went with Stephen Dorff. So, because he nailed it, to be fair. So, should we talk about... Let's talk about it. Let's break down Blade. We're not going to go through a full breakdown like we've done in the past. But I do think we need to start with the opening. The opening of Blade is one of the best openings of the film. And again, I thought going into this, I really thought when I turned this movie on, I was like, this is going to be a proper bad movie review, this. And I kind of forgot. And I'd had people send us thoughts on Podfans Assemble, which we'll go through in a bit, saying like how good it was. Yeah. And I was like thinking, is it? What was it? I don't remember it being that good. And literally 10 seconds into the opening, I was like, yes, I remember this now. This is so good.
Brilliant.
The music, which we've had playing over as we've turned it off now. That music, Big Fish, Little Fish, cardboard box, all the way through. So annoying, but literally it was just the epitome of 90s action movies, wasn't it? It was, the whole scene was great. The blood rave, just the entrance of Blade. Literally, we just see his feet coming first, and I literally was like sort of smirking at the TV
cheese,
when he came
but
in.
At the same time, it's
brilliant. It's so good. I was just sitting there thinking, you are all fucked now. Yeah. He's gonna have you. He's completely gonna have you. But then again, it sort of toes the line quite well between going to OTT, because again, I didn't remember the whole thing, but when he was there with like a few hundred vampires, I was like, there's just him. He's not going to be able to take them all on. But he didn't. Most of them ran away because they were terrified of him. Yeah. So again, it made sense. Yeah. The fight was great, apart from the all that sort of stuff all the way through. The whole fight was it was good. Yeah, it was good.
There is one that literally sounded like Street Fighters.
There was.
Every time.
There were loads of them. I'm sure there was a Hadouken in there at some point.
Honestly, I was just waiting for KO.
It did take you out of it a little bit, but it was really good. I liked the whole opening was amazing. I thought as well,
and it was what's the little thing that he did? He did some kind of like yes or. Yeah, like a proper cheesy
like
grin,
a little fist bump.
Kind of towards the camera, and I kind of love that as well.
What did he do? Was it when I think it was when Quinn, Donald Logue, it's when he threw the two stakes at him and staked into the wall, and he like turned around and like sort of, he didn't break the fourth wall, he didn't smile at the camera, but he went from like completely serious to like, hey, I'm a little fist bump in the air sort of thing.
Can we also just take a moment to just enjoy how many times he had his arm chopped off.
Yeah.
I was howling at that.
It was good.
And he was like, I thought you were going to do it. Gone.
Well, did he lose it 3 times?
I think so,
Three times and then his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was a little running joke, but it was solid. The other one that made me laugh, it was a bit like shit, but it kind of made me laugh, was a few times, I think 2 or 3 times, they kind of like sped things up. So the car chase.
Yeah.
So was it that? Oh, it was when they chased the cop, the familiar, because they had familiars in this, didn't they? So when him and Karen chased the cop, it kind of sped it up.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether it was for effect or whether because they were doing it on the streets, the cars were driving quite slow, so they sped it up to make sure they were looking quite. That's what I thought at first. I thought they've just sped this up to make it look like the cars are moving fast,
making all pedestrians walk at half speed.
But literally, seriously,
all extras, please walk extra slow.
But when I was watching it and the cars were all moving really, really fast, all I could hear in my head, other than the was. And I was really tempted to make a video of it, but I could just literally hear in my head the Benny Hill music as they were like driving around. And then there's another bit as well with the train.
Oh yeah.
You know when they grabbed the back of the train that literally is like 600 cars long because it just kept coming and coming all the way through. And when they grabbed that and all the vampires were chasing them, they did it again. They did like the speed up to make it look like the vampires were running fast, but it just looked like they were running at double speed. So that was a bit didn't work.
They didn't do it like Twilight where they were running on treadmills on a moving car.
No, that's how they did it in Twilight, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the back of a truck.
I've seen clips of that, but treadmill. Some of them, who is it? Is it Kellen Lutz, like the big grokky vampire? Yeah. He looks really good when he's doing it. And then the mum is just like trudging along, but still moving twice as fast. Yeah. It just doesn't work.
No, not at all.
Not everybody can pull it off. Clearly not. So yeah, we talked about the Foley artists and the car chase. Two characters.
Let's go for it.
Wesley Snipes, obviously, as Blade.
Brilliant.
Amazing.
He was
Wesley Snipes before he went crazy. Wesley Snipes was quality.
Yeah.
Was really good. Apparently I'm going back to the making of here, but just before he signed on to this, he'd been trying to get a Black Panther movie going.
Oh, had he?
And he just couldn't find a studio to get it going. So he kind of reluctantly took this. But again, you could see he was proper into it, wasn't he? And I think I get the impression he knows all the martial arts himself, but it wasn't all done by him because it was an obvious stunt double for most of it. Yeah, he absolutely nailed it. He went crazy though throughout the trilogy of movies, didn't he? Have you heard about like how he was in Blade 3?
No.
He was a nightmare.
I've heard stories about Blade Trinity.
That was Blade Trinity.
Yeah, and I've heard that it then wasn't received very well either.
No, it wasn't. It did change the tone completely.
Yeah.
It changed the tone. Because Blade 2 was the same sort of tone as this one.
Yeah.
And Blade 3 really made it more of a late 2000s Ryan Reynolds. Like, again, we love Ryan Reynolds, but it was like not good Ryan Reynolds. You know, just like Deadpool, but on speed. Like too trying to be too funny in like really not good situations.
Like he's not landing and being more spoofy than it should have been.
Yeah. It's like you kind of get it with Deadpool because he's invincible and he breaks the fourth wall. But imagine Deadpool not invisible and in like proper perilous situations and not breaking the fourth wall, but also trying to be twice as funny as he is. It just didn't work. But in Blade 3 or Trinity, Patton Oswalt was in it. Because he's one of the what did they call themselves? The Night Stalkers? Did they call themselves? Something like that. They were basically the ones who fought the vampires, and he was one of them. Was like the tech guy, and he said that Wesley Snipes on set made everybody call him Blade. You couldn't refer to him as Wesley Snipes, and he would basically just sit in his trailer all day getting stoned and would not come out when they told him to. So it'd be like, right, Blade, it's like Blade, not Wesley. Blade, it's 3 o'clock, we're going to start filming at 3 o'clock. And then he'd come out at like 5 o'clock, absolutely baked.
Why?
Completely.
Why do
and would
people do
only
that?
let people call him Blade. It was like, but again, this was before. This was clearly before he went too serious. And again, like we said, I think he sort of towed the line quite well between the being super serious and having a funny side.
Yeah.
Whereas as you go through the Blade movies, he loses that funny edge.
Yeah.
He's got a bit of a sense of humor in this Blade, and
Yeah.
he doesn't really in 2, and definitely not in 3, because he thinks he's too much of a hard man. But he was an amazing character. I think the whole performance was good.
It was a good balance, enjoyable to watch.
It was completely. So we've already talked about him a bit. Deacon Frost, so Stephen Dorff.
Yeah.
He was genuinely for no reason, but quite scary.
Yeah.
He had like a proper creepiness.
That's why it's menacing.
Yeah. Like you bought it, when all these these prop vampires,
and I love it
pure
because
vampires were terrified of him.
He looked young, but seemed to have this power over everybody, and I love that.
I think that added to why he was so scary, because
that scene with the little kid, when he's holding her and then he throws her through a bus stop.
Oh, I know,
into the road.
I was surprised at that, and I've seen this before. Yeah, it's dark, but I think the scary thing about him is he's so calm. 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
But you just know at any point this guy could just completely flip.
Yeah.
And that's what's scary about him. And again, the fact that everybody else seemed, because he's not a big dude, is he? Do you know what I mean? Everyone else was terrified of him.
Yeah.
He played it really well, but it surprised me that we don't really then. Because he did a really good job in this, apart from the end fight, when he jumped in the air, with his arms up in the air and stuff.
That made me think of Kung Fu Panda.
It wasn't good. We'll get to the end now. But apart from the odd moment, he was really good in this. Yeah. And it surprises me that we then don't see that much of Stephen Dorff anymore.
Yeah, we know.
I wonder whether something happened personal, private life-wise that we don't really know about.
I don't know, but I kind of want to know now.
Yeah, I kind of want to know. I'm not Googling it now.
No.
But yeah, he absolutely nailed it. Quinn, Donald Logue, amazing. Everything he's in. Oh, no, not everything he's in. Ghost Rider. He wasn't good at Ghost Rider. Not good. But it was weird seeing him young.
It was weird seeing him young. I think he's had that beard since he was born.
He must have, because it's just always there.
Yeah.
But it's not a beard. He still can't grow a beard. It's just like bum fluff.
No,
he just can't grow a proper beard.
I liked how arrogant and immature he was the whole time.
Yeah.
Because obviously being a vampire is probably quite an age at this point.
Yeah.
But he's still got that level of immaturity.
I don't get the impression any of them are particularly old.
I don't think they're particularly old.
But they must be 100 years.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So yeah, I just thought his portrayal was really good, because you had the villain that was scary.
Yeah.
And he was kind of like the underling. But kind of the main.
Who thought he was on the same level as him.
Yeah.
And he's not.
And then put in his place constantly. And I loved it. I thought
he was just happy to be here the whole time, apart from when he was getting his arms cut off.
Yeah.
He was just happy to be there.
And when he was burnt alive.
The whole time. He was scary at the start, though.
When he sat up on that table, I shit my pants, not going to lie. I'd forgotten that
happened. Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I knew. That is etched in my memory. I can remember when this first came out, how old was I? 14 when this came out? Yeah, I'll show my age now. I think it was 14 when I first saw this. And I was never great with horror films.
See, I was 8, so I didn't watch it straight away.
Oh no, I did, and I remember my brother watching it at home on video or something.
Yeah,
and seeing that, and as that was going, I was just like, no, that's not for me. This I'm not.
You're such a wuss.
I'm fine with horror films now, but and you know what? As a kid, when I was 10, this sounds like I've got really bad parents. When I was 10, I used to watch horror films, and I didn't have a problem with them. And I just hit a period when I was
I was
15 to 20 where I was nope, don't want to do horror films. And now I love them again.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I was the same. When I was 12, I watched 13.
13 Ghosts.
13 Ghosts. And the jackal absolutely terrified me.
Yeah.
When she was scratching her, just running at her like that.
It's I went through a phase.
Yeah, and I did that then, and I was
mid-teens where I was terrified of things.
I stopped watching horrors for a little while, and then went back into it when I was about 16.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can remember going to watch, and again, we're digressing. Welcome to that superhero thing podcast. That's what we do. But I can remember going to watch Dawn of the Dead, Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, when I was 18, I think. Midnight showing. Such a bad move. And I can remember just being there watching the whole film and just thinking, fuck, this is rough. This is not fun, this film at all. And getting out and just being I'm scarred, like physically scarred,
I'm not going
mentally
to sleep
scarred.
tonight.
I'm not sitting to sleep like a week.
I'm watching now.
And then literally this weekend, Sunday morning, I was like, Dawn of the Dead. Sat there with a cup of tea, Sunday morning. Kids were with the parents at my mum and dad's house, staying the night. I just sat and watched Dawn of the Dead and giggled all the way through it. And it's just like it was just a weird phase in my teens where they just scared the shit out of me.
Well, this weekend I've booked now to go and see Halloween Kills. I'm going to watch it at 9 o'clock.
At night?
Yeah.
On the morning, because you're a wimp.
No, at night.
When the sun's out.
Yeah, no, I'm going to see it and I cannot wait.
I am really looking forward to that. I haven't
really
heard
excited.
good things.
Haven't you?
No.
Which
is weird because the 2018 one was amazing.
I've heard that it's a bit homophobic.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, there's a bit where like he's after gays. But I've just said...
after gays? Just the way you said that.
After the gays. But
gays.
I just said... I didn't think he was prejudiced to anyone. If you got in his way, you died. I just thought that was what it was.
Yeah,
but
if there just happened to be
I don't know.
gay people.
There's been a bit of backlash. Apparently,
I thought it was babysitters.
Yeah, I thought it was babysitters, but
is that just backlash because he's just so happened to kill a couple of gay people?
Probably gay babysitters.
Possibly, not possibly, more than likely.
Babysitters.
Anyway, as we said, welcome to the Superhero Podcast. Where we digress massively.
Sorry.
So anyway, yeah, Quinn was amazing.
Yeah.
It was nice seeing him in a completely different role to what we see him in now. He's always like the dark, gruff, sort of mentally scarred dude.
Yeah.
And in this, he was just like completely carefree, just wanted to go around banging prostitutes,
there's still
vampires.
that humorous twang in there.
Yes.
Even when he is like dark and broody and all that kind
Yeah.
of stuff. It's like, because the main thing I've got to say that I've seen him in is Gotham.
Because
I watched all of the series.
Yeah.
And he still had that.
He's got like a sarcastic edge to him.
Yeah. And you kind of love it
the
whole time. Even when it's a dead serious scene, he'll say one stupid thing within it where you just think, what are you doing?
He's a legend though. I like
but he's
that
brilliant.
Luke. I like that Luke. So we also had Karen, who was played by an actress called Boucher Wright, who I've not really seen in anything since. I remember her being in this. Like before we even started watching the film, I'm
totally honest,
distinctly remembered her being in it.
For me, she was the drop in
the movie.
Yeah,
I see.
Energy. That's what I want to say. In the energy, like
see,
I didn't feel her as much as I felt everyone else. Do you know what I mean?
I think I kind of get that because I think everybody else was really big characters.
Yeah.
But what I did like about her was and because there wasn't one in the movie, she wasn't just a love interest who got into trouble. Do you get what I mean?
She was having her own journey at the same time.
Yeah, but she wasn't really a love interest at all because there was no real sort of like romantic.
Wow.
Do you think there was?
I mean, that scene where he bites her.
Yeah, but I wouldn't
right,
necessarily...
They were shagging without shagging. I'm just putting it out there. I mean,
really?
I'm not saying that I've bitten anyone's neck, but I'm pretty sure that I wouldn't be humping them while I'm doing it, which is essentially what was happening. And it was getting faster and they were changing the camera angles and there was a hump and then a hump and then a hump. It was like they were having sex.
Were there any,
it was very overly sexual.
Like squeaky bed noises.
The camera was shaking. No, but it was just like... It was very sexualized.
I didn't read it like that, but I kind of get what you're saying now. But even if it was, that was the only sort of part where there was a love interest in there.
But I actually thought I didn't like that, is what I'm saying. Like
that there wasn't a love element.
No, I didn't like that over sexualized
on
fight
that scene
because I liked the fact that there wasn't really the love interest.
Yeah,
it was like the second that they start to like each other, one of them does something that pisses the other one off. So it was like when she turned around, she's like, "You used me as bait," and he went, "Get over it."
Yeah, it's in it.
Like, and I just loved that. I just thought it was hilarious. I liked that she had her own journey in it, and I did like the bit when she was kicking ass with, I can't even remember who it was she was fighting now, but she put up a decent fight.
The girl vampire, the blonde one.
Yeah.
And the weird dude from the hospital in the pit.
Yeah.
Curtis dude was his name or something like that. Yeah, she proper held her own all the way through.
I think it was when it was the talking scenes. It was when she was interacting with people. I don't know whether it's just like an acting
really sell it
thing.
At that stage.
I just don't. I wasn't sold.
I think the thing I appreciated was, and even looking at a film now, normally when you've got like the big male star and then the sort of female sidekick's probably not the word, but you know what I mean, through the film.
Yeah.
They're always, even now, it's rare that there isn't the love interest element, and they are more of a, and I know she obviously was a side character, but it did feel like, even then, 20 odd years ago, she had a proper story, her own story going through, and she wasn't just rescued all the time by Blade at the end of the day. So I thought that was good. And then the last main character was Chris Christopherson as Whistler. Who was boss.
He was brilliant.
Him. But then he's not dead. He's in number 2.
Oh.
Yeah, he's in number 2.
I don't remember 2 and 3 either, to be fair.
I think from number 2, spoilers, I think in number 2, it turns out that when he's tried to shoot himself, he'd already turned too much. So he survived the gunshot, but then they've cured him because Karen had a cure and she cured herself. So I think that's what's happened. So he did turn, he survived the gunshot, and then they cured his vampirism. But he was cool. I liked him. So hard. That bit when they had Blade, when Quinn had Blade, and he just broke. He like set off like a massive explosion or something like that. And I can't remember what he said, but it
was a brilliant line.
It was something like, "Did I interrupt you, motherfuckers?" or something like that. And it was just like, yes, amazing. He's an absolute legend, and he still held his own against like when Frost and Quinn raided the warehouse. He proper held his own there as well. He was good. He was a good character. He's a pretty standard character for most movies. He was the Q, wasn't he? He was Q, but he was good. I thought he played it really well, and I think that's why at the end of the day he's done such a good job of it in Blade 1. That's why they've brought him back. That's why they've basically rewritten the rules to bring him back in Blade 2. So talking about the rules then, they didn't really stick to the rules that they sort of set out in the movie when it came to like how to kill vampires. They did give us rules. They said like garlic works, silver kills them, sunlight, crosses doesn't do shit, he said. But they didn't really follow it because I was under the impression, particularly from the opening scene with like the blood rave, that if you got them with silver anywhere, that was them because the silver was killing them. But then Donald Logue got stabbed in both shoulders with silver stakes. So I didn't quite grasp why he wasn't
I took it as
melting.
Silver does the same damage that
a wooden stake would.
No, the actual damage would. So where he'd been stabbed, it wasn't enough to kill him.
Okay.
But like if they'd have got the heart, it would have killed him straight away. If they'd have been shot too many times, it would have killed them. The same. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like a little bit. They were a little bit harder, but
then there were other bits like when Karen escaped at the very end and she snuck up on the vampire and she literally just shot him in the chest with a shotgun and he just turned to ash. I
thought it was the same point that when it becomes too much damage for them, like the damage will kill them quicker than their powers will heal themselves.
Quinn got completely melted or burnt to a crisp, didn't he? He was dead. And then I swear at one point at the end, Blade literally punched someone in the face and he turned to ash because he did him so hard. There was a whoosh and then he went Wah! Like that.
Oh, I don't know.
I swear down. It just didn't seem very, I'm a big thing. I've got a big thing for continuity. And all the way through, I was just like, hang on, that doesn't make sense. How come this guy's been stabbed with silver twice and set alight and he didn't die, and this dude's been punched in the face and he's turned to ash?
Also, how did sun cream work?
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
Because that was just like ridiculous.
That took me out of it completely.
Yeah.
If sun cream works, what's the fucking problem? Why are we trying to turn yourself into the blood god? Just literally
advert for Piz Bwin.
Just go down. Go down to Boots. Get yourself some
3 for 2.
3 for 2. Back to 50.
Yeah,
and just crack on with it. You're all right.
Imagine if you miss a bit though. You'd feel that straight away, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah, but you'd know about it straight away. That's it. It just seemed a bit ridiculous when he was doing that. When they were him and the block, when Deacon,
and then he went, "You melted."
Yeah, I know. And nothing
like dapping himself.
But why? It just didn't. It was just ridiculous. Because I thought when they basically dragged that ancient vampire, didn't they, into the sun, and they put the bike helmets on, didn't they, in the end, and stripped them over. And I thought, well, maybe the sun cream can just cover them in really, really low sunlight, and then once the sun came up, they had to put the bike helmets on. But then in the park, he was just stood there in the middle of the day with sun cream on,
holding a child,
holding a kid. It's like it doesn't,
and no one was bothered by it.
No, and exactly, nobody was like.
Thing. The kid was thrown in front of a bus on the road, and nobody even looked shocked when you were watching the extras. Because I did this, I watched the extras.
Right, yeah.
While it's all happening, and they're all just going, just carrying on the conversations, walking down the street.
Girls have been thrown through a bus stop, as you do. Yeah. It didn't make sense. But with the sunblock, it's like, yeah, maybe they can't go out in 30 degrees heat or something like that, like cracking the flag sun. But surely it's just like
on an overcast day, they just
need to move to Merseyside because it's always overcast.
You're gonna get about a week where you'd have to stay indoors.
Forget the US, just come over to and you'll be absolutely fine. Literally, you wouldn't even need to put the sunblock on. No. You'd be all right. You can just crack on. You can just completely run the place. But yeah, that was just a bit that took it out of it a little bit.
Yeah.
So the ending then, good ending. The whole battle, the whole fight at the end.
So the fight was good. The CGI took me out of it at this point.
Only at the very end of it.
It just...
Or what about you mean with the weird little skeletons?
Right, so the weird skeleton things, the CGI was terrible there.
Yeah.
And again for their time,
it wasn't as bad as the Blood Monster.
No. Right, okay, so the way I now compare things is I compare it to Jurassic Park. Because it was 1993. No, because they used CGI. They used a lot of CGI in that. It was 1993. It was
5 years before
but it was bloody good.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
And then to see, and I know that they had quite a big budget on this.
Yeah.
To then see the level of CGI that they had 5 years later in this, it just took me out a little bit.
No, I get you,
because it wasn't that of the highest standard.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him get split in half and the blood bubbled,
sucked him back down.
Not even just that. So I'd said this to you just before we started recording. It reminded me of Ivan Ooze from the original Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, it did look.
When he forms when he first comes out of the egg, that really crap oozy, like the way the blood was
CG,
just
really blatant CG that in one frame goes to a solid person.
Yeah,
like when he chopped his arm off and he put his arm up in front of him, it was just like little red bubbles, and then all of a sudden
the hand is there.
You could literally see Stephen Dorff's hand behind the CG bubbles. Yeah.
And it was just that just pulled me out of it a little bit.
Yeah, it did me. But I think the fact that it only happened at the very end was kind of okay enough. If that had happened 15 minutes into the film, it would have completely taken you out of it for the rest of the movie.
But he can't be forgiven for that jump that we said we'd come back to.
No, that jump where he just completely left himself open.
Maybe that was his little nod to Jet Li. Sorry you couldn't do it. Maybe. I'll throw this in for you.
Maybe. He was like, he'd seen the storyboards and was like, nah, I can do it. No, Stephen, we don't want you to do it. It was a Jet Li move. We don't need to do it. I'll do it. I can do it. Fucking Jet Li can do it. I can do it. No, it wasn't.
I watched it and I just went, really?
It wasn't good. And
no.
The fight as well, I thought, with the swords, I know it was they were clearly stunt doubles with both of them.
Yeah.
To actually watch the fight, they were literally just banging the swords together. At no point did it look like either of them were trying to hit each other. They were literally just it's like you know a kid when you have a sword fight when you're 6.
Yeah.
You're just literally banging the swords together in midair.
Love it.
That's all that was happening. Literally, right up in the air, 2 foot above their heads, just banging them together. And the Foley artists are going crazy, going. It was so good. And we can't finish without mentioning Pearl, the big fat vampire.
Yeah,
amazing. I know we've skipped past it to the end.
We did
but
skip.
Pearl was amazing. I remember that's the one thing I remember from watching it first. And then probably what is the best line in any movie ever, which was put in there by Wesley Snipes.
Go on.
Do you not remember? Do you not pick up on it? At the very end, when he's just about to fight Frost, and he goes, "Some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill."
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "What does that even mean?"
No.
I mean, where'd you even get that from? Some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill.
I would have loved him to have just turned up somewhere and just gone, "Surprise, motherfucker!"
Oh, it was just literally, we said the blood monster took you out of it as soon as he said that. Because I knew it was coming, I just didn't think it was coming then. As soon as he said that, I just went. I just completely
just see him with some curtains and just go, "Sun lad, motherfucker." Oh, God.
Oh, it was so good. It's such a weird line, though. I don't know why he did it. Apparently, he insisted on that line. He probably just sat there and thought, "I've got a good fucking line. Yeah, watch this." David S. Goyer listens to this. Some motherfuckers always when I skate uphill. It's like, yeah.
Did you like that? That's poetic as fuck.
Me and Anthony are literally crying from... I can't say it again.
It's so ridiculous.
I feel like I've like spent all my like shit talking
Some
points.
motherfuckers always try to ice skate uphill.
Thanks, Anthony.
You're welcome.
The more you say it, the stupider it gets. What does it even... I know what it means, obviously. It's so funny. But yeah.
I can't even ice skate on a flat surface.
Let alone uphill.
Last time I fell on my knees and got stuck in the ice rink. I couldn't get up. I had to wait for my mate to get all the way around to come back and help me. I was physically shaking. I couldn't move.
You just sat on your knees.
You know the stoppers at the front?
Yeah.
It caught on the ice and I left the air and landed knees first on the ice. And I was, oh my God, honestly, I've never had bruising like it.
Oh, amazing.
But everything was shaking that much because I'd hit the ground so hard I could not move. But my mate had already gone off ahead and had to follow the circle back round and come and get me. And then I had to like hobble over to the sides and just pull myself to get off.
That's amazing. So funny. Thanks.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
Again, we digress, but that's what we do. That's why we got onto that. But to wrap it up, I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to watch Blade 2 tonight.
Yeah, I kind of want to watch.
Yeah, I don't want to watch Blade 3 because it's not good. It's not good. Ryan Reynolds, cracking, but then you've also got Triple H from the WWE being one of the vampires. Yeah. I think in number 2, it was one of Bros. It's like Luke Goss was the bad guy.
Oh.
You don't know what I mean, do you?
No.
Like some 80s boy band.
Oh, okay.
He's an actor. He does act now, but he does like not particularly good movies. Do you know who else is in number 2?
Who?
Danny John Jules from Red Dwarf.
Oh, really?
The cat, yeah.
Love it.
He's in number 2. He's like one of the main characters in it.
He's also one of the merry men in Maid Marian.
He was. How the friggin' hell did we get onto that? Right, it's time to wrap up on that one then. We're literally, we all sit here for 6 hours talking about CBBC TV series. Right, should we do, while we're still on kind of the subject of Blade, should we do Podfans Assemble?
Yeah.
Fans Assemble.
Okay, so we've got Stephanie, who has given us a bit of an essay, actually.
Yeah, but do you know what? It's Blade. I love how passionate she is
I want
about
to
it.
know what she's got to say. So, this movie came out during the whole Anne Rice, Buffy, Angel, Vampire popularity resurgence period in the 90s.
It did.
Nothing was more popular. It didn't matter it was a comic book character or Marvel. They did not have the clout back then that they do now.
Did you even know it was Marvel when this came out?
No. I didn't know it was Marvel until they announced that they were doing the new Blade.
Until I said, Anthony, we're doing Blade.
And I was like, is that Marvel?
Is it comic book?
What did matter though was Wesley Snipes was the lead and that he was the perfect choice to be Blade. He totally nailed it. The hype was real. It wasn't a critics type of movie, but this was big hit with comic book fans and moviegoers alike. Hell, even Chris Christopherson's clout was revitalized with this movie. Stephen Dorff was the baddest badass in Hollywood after this. Donald Logue stole every scene he was in. It was a generational mood portrayed in this somewhat campy, hyper-violent setting.
I would agree.
From the casting to the music to the music to the story and and the real world overtones really of being a minority or a part of a misunderstood society or just alone. It perfectly encapsulated that one brief darkly shining moment in time. I can't wait to see the Mahershala Ali take this over and see what the full might of an MCU movie might be able to do for this character. It's the treatment he deserves.
I agree. I agree
that.
Massively, and I love how passionate Stephanie was
about
that.
That's amazing.
I hope...
And eloquently written as well.
Was good, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done, thanks, Stephanie.
Thanks, Steph.
I can't wait for Blade, the new one.
Yeah.
But I don't know what tone I want them to do, because part of me wants them to go down the same tone as this, and really horror based.
Yeah.
But I just don't see Marvel doing it, because this is an 18 Blade. It's not even a 15, it's an 18, and I just don't think...
I think it was overdone. Like, back then, I think that should be 15 at most.
I probably think it should be 15
I think
now.
it was just because of the amount of fucks.
Yeah, probably. But I think, and probably the fact that Donald Logue was getting a blowjob off one of the vampires in the middle of the club.
I didn't even get onto that.
Yeah,
missed that bit.
Yeah. Things like that obviously Marvel are never going to put in. It's not going to happen in a Marvel movie. But
I mean, they've still said that Deadpool 3 is going to be R-rated still.
Yeah, but I think the only reason Deadpool can get away with it And I think the only reason Marvel will consider it is firstly because of how popular Deadpool is.
Yeah.
But also, it does it in a tongue-in-cheek way.
Yeah.
It's comedy chopping people's heads off.
Yeah.
Which sounds stupid, but it is. It's done in a comedic way.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if it was done in a proper dark way like this, I don't think it'd be their cup of tea. But that concerns me because I want something really dark and gritty. I don't want PG-13 vampires.
No.
As good as Buffy was, love Buffy.
Yeah.
As good as that was, I don't want PG-13 vampire. I don't want fucking Twilight with Mahershala Ali. I don't want it.
Yeah, fair.
Not in the. I kind of want to see it now that I've said that, but I don't want it in the MCU.
Yeah, fair. Dave said, "Dang, I got to revisit this one too. I like the whole trilogy from what I remember, but that iconic blood rave from the original will always stand out most for me."
It is so good. Such a good scene.
Kids, what are we watching tonight? Said it's a fucking awesome film. Stylistically, it's awesome. Music's kicking. Shame Stephen Norrington doesn't direct anymore.
I didn't know he didn't do it. He didn't direct anymore. He did a good job of this, though.
Yeah.
Apart from letting Wesley Snipes have the "some motherfuckers always want trying to ice skate uphill" line in there. Yeah, he did well.
Peacemaker said pretty good overall, but not my thing. Fair enough.
Play.
And this week in Metropolis said absolutely loved this film.
It is. It was boss.
I mean, we've kind of pulled it apart quite a lot. But in general, I loved it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because that's what we do in the podcast.
Yeah.
We can't just sit there and save 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It was cracking,
it was nice. Yeah.
All done. Right, should we do the wrap up?
Yeah.
Right, so thanks for listening to the show, and don't forget to come back next week when we'll still have a bit of a Halloween-themed episode, because we are doing Netflix's Army of Thieves.
Yes.
Which is zombie. We think it's zombie-related, we still don't know massive amounts. I'm really looking forward to this one. I loved Army of the Dead, so Army of Thieves.
What day is it coming out again?
It's coming out on Friday the 29th,
okay.
So we will release our episode on Halloween.
Okay, yeah.
We're releasing on the 31st. You can find all our episodes at thatsuperherothing.com, along with all of our social media links. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. On the website, you can also sign up for our email newsletter, where you receive new episode alerts and news on upcoming shows. You can contact us on any of our socials and submit thoughts and theories for next week's Podfans Assemble. If you enjoyed the show, please do consider rating and reviewing it on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, or both. Both of them. Let's do both of them.
Let's do both.
All the reviews and the ratings really help us out massively. They help us get noticed and get more listeners to the show. Finally, patron shout-outs. We've got Geekinate, Kenneth, Keeper of the Sacred Flame, Stephanie, and Richard. So thanks, guys, for supporting the show. I know we say it every week, but genuinely, it really does mean so much, the fact that you guys are supporting the show. If you'd like to join those guys and add some more support, you can go to thatsuperherothing.com/Patreon, or patreon.com/thatsuperherothing, whichever one you want. And you can basically join as a patron there. We've got bonus episodes. We just released the MCU ranking video a couple of weeks ago. Not video, podcast. Yeah, there is a video on there, but yeah, that's not a video. And you can also, if you become a patron member, you can access the Discord server.
Yeah.
Which you can obviously chat to us, chat to the patrons on there as well. You can listen in live to the podcast as it is being recorded.
Yeah.
So that's an extra perk. And if you join on a God level tier, you get access to our live watch parties, which are on the last Tuesday of every month.
Yeah.
Last month we did Daredevil, and Anthony reminded me before, this month we are doing
Howard the Duck.
I'm
so excited.
Anthony is buzzing.
I've never seen it, so I'm just dead excited.
Seen it either.
It's probably going to be horrendous, but I'm okay with it.
No, it's going to be horrendous. I am not. I kind of am looking forward to it, but I'm kind of mostly not. But yeah, we will be doing that on the 28th.
Yeah. So 26th.
26th. This is why Anthony's
the
here.
Tuesday. Yeah.
26th. We'll be doing it on 26th. So yeah, head over to Patreon, get signed up there. And yeah, joining the fun that is going to be Howard the Duck. Other than that, though, I think that's us for this week. So thanks for listening. We'll speak to you later.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. Do you want me to play the music so you can get in the mood?
Get in the mood.
So shit. It's not picking it up. Or is it? No, it's not picking it up. It just goes on forever. It just goes on forever and ever and ever. I'll play like 10 seconds of it and then fade it out.